Good day, everyone. I am Princess Rebusora, and I am one of the reporters of Chapter 12A entitled Post-Employment Benefits, along with Ms. Maniacup and Ms. Padaloy. So, to start the discussion, let us first define post-employment benefits. So, post-employment benefits are benefits that are given to employees after the employment with an entity has been completed. These are other than short-term and termination benefits. Normally, these are given to retiring employees who reach 50 years old and 65 years old. 50 years old being the early retirement age, and 65 years old being the mandatory retirement age. In addition, these are given to them in a lump sum basis or in a periodical basis. So the question is, why continue giving benefits to the retired employees even if they are not working for the entity anymore? Yung explanation lang dito is that dahil nga kapag nag-retire na yung mga employees is wala na silang gaano na pagkukuha ng stable na income, the entity must give them the compensation they deserve for devoting their time, effort, and loyalty to the company throughout the years na nag-serve sila sa company na yun. So, isang characteristic ng post-employment benefit plan is that it varies from one employer entity to another, since every company is in formal contact na sinusunod na related sa mga retirement plan. Kaya naman yung minimum amount na dapat makuha ng isang retired na empleyado sa isang company ay nakabase mismo sa specific law under Republic Act No. 7641. This to ensure na just yung compensation na tatanggap ng mga retired employees. So, under Article 287 of the Labor Code of the Philippines, the minimum amount is one salary for every year of service, with a fraction of the first 6 months being considered as one whole year. And it includes the following amounts. Number one is 15 days salary based on salary rate at the time of retirement. Pangalawa is cash equivalent of more than 5 days of service incentive leaves. And pangatlo naman is yung 1/12 of 13th month pay. And this is equivalent to 2.5 days, which is 30 times 1/12. In other words, 1 month half salary is equivalent to 2.5 days of compensation, which is 15 days, 5 days plus 2.5 days. So, para naman mabigyan ng retired employees ng amount na to, dapat na-meet nila yung dalawang requirements. Una, dapat ang edad nila ay 60 years old pataas. Ang pangalawa naman, dapat nakapag-servisyo na sila ng 5 years or more sa company kung saan sila nag-retire. So, para maliwalagan na tayo sa kung magkano nga ba yung posible makuha ng isang retired employee sa company kapag retire nila based sa minimum amount na nasa batas. Tingnan natin yung illustration na nasa screen. A 60-year-old employee is retired from his last employer when his daily salary is 5,000 a day. He was employed for the last 42 years, of which 10 years were with his last employer. From this information, the minimum amount of retirement benefits that this employee should receive shall be determined as is following forma. So, daily salary na 5,000 is multiply sa number of days, which is 22.5 days na nabanggit kanina, and mag-equal to sa 1/2 month salary na 112,500. And multiply natin to sa number of years ng service ng employer din sa last employee sa last employer niya, which is 10 years. And mag-result to sa amount na total, sa minimum amount na total retirement benefits na 1,125,000. So, dahil na yung post-employment benefits ay isang formal or informal arrangement between an employer and retiring employees, may plano silang sinusunod, which are classified as either defined contribution plan or defined benefit plan. So, yung difference nila in terms of entity's obligation, defined contribution plan, it is fixed contribution is a separate entity, a fund, and has no legal or constructive obligation to pay further contribution if the fund becomes insufficient. Meaning lang nito is that um, sa point of view ng entity, kapag meron na silang nabigay na contribution dun sa fund na yun, and hahawakan siya ng isang third party, kung ano man yung mangyari sa fund na yun, kung tumaas man siya or bumaba, wala nang pakialam doon yung entity since sa part nga niya or sa point of view niya, fixed na yung yung contribution na nakalagay sa agreement. Wherein sa defined benefit plan naman, which is it provides the agreed or predetermined benefits to current and former employees regardless of the performance of the fund. So, dito naman, kabaliktaran ng defined contribution plan na um, ang fix dito is sa point of view ng employees, ang fix dito is yung benefit na matatanggap nila or yung amount ng benefit na matatanggap nila. So, kung ang amount is 100,000 and may nangyari sa fund, tumaas or bumaba yung fund na dapat ibigay sa kanila, meron pa rin obligation yung entity since nakalagay sa agreement nila is fixed yung amount ng benefit na matatanggap ng employees. So, dapat yun talaga yung matanggap nila na benefit. So, in terms naman sa amounts to be paid to the retirees, sa defined contribution plan, actual contribution plus the returns from the investing of actual contribution. So, ito yung pinaka, sa defined contribution plan, yung babayaran sa retirees is yung actual contribution na nakalagay sa agreement plus kung ano man yung mga returns ng actual contribution na yun or yung mga halimbawa, like yung employee is nagko-contribute na sila sa fund, kung ano man yung balik nun sa kanila is kasama yun sa actual contribution na babayaran sa kanila. Tapos, sa defined benefit plan naman, predetermined amount of benefits. Ito naman is, since dito nga ang definite dito is yung benefit na matatanggap ng employees, yung present value nun, yun yung amount na matatanggap ng mga retired employees. So, in terms naman sa who assumes the actual risk and investment risk sa defined contribution plan, since definitely dito is yung contribution, yung magbe-bear ng actual risk and investment risk is yung employees. Since kapag nga kung ano man yung mangyari sa fund, is wala nang pakailam yung entity doon since naka-fix na yung contribution. Kung bumaba or tumaas yun, employees yung bear ng risk since pwedeng mababa or mataas yung makuha nila. Wherein, sa defined benefit plan, ang mag-bear naman ng actuarial or investment risk is yung employer entity. Dito, ang definite is yung benefit ng kukuha ng mga employees. Kapag tumaas or bumaba yung sa fund, yung employer entity yung bear nun since fixed yung ibibigay nila sa mga employer and dapat yun talaga yung matanggap ng employer. Kung tumaas or bumaba yun, kailangan nilang dagdagan yung fund. Kapag bumaba yun, kailangan nilang dagdagan yung fund and sila yung magiging disadvantage yun sa kanila kasi mas malaki yung may lalabas nila ng pera. And lastly, prevalence in practice, defined contribution plan is less common siya while yung defined benefit plan is more common. Defined contribution plan, less common siya sa practice since in-expense outright na agad yung um, amount to be paid sa retirees. And hindi na nagkakaroon pa ng mga um, changes, hindi kagaya sa defined benefit plan na mas complex yung accounting ng um, retirement plan na to. So, bago tayo proceed sa pag-discuss ng next slide, kanina may nabanggit na dalawang uri ng risk, yung actuarial risk at yung investment risk. Yung actuarial risk, ito yung risk na possible na mangyari kung ang amount ng retirement benefits ay mas mababa sa inaasahang matanggap ng retiring employees. Wherein yung investment risk naman, ito naman yung risk na possible na mangyari kung yung amount ng contribution at returns ay hindi enough para mabayaran yung expected benefits ng mga retiring employees. So, going back sa next discussion, yung defined contribution plan at defined benefit plan, nahati pa yan sa apat na uri. Ito nga yung contributory plan, non-contributory plan, funded plan, and unfunded plan. So, dito sa contributory plan, both employer and employee ang nagko-contribute ng fund sa fund pero hindi necessarily equal yung amount na i-contribute nila. Samantalang sa non-contributory naman, yung employer lang yung nag-shoulder ng contributions. While sa funded plan naman, the employer entity is nag-set aside ng fund for future use by making payments sa mga funding agencies such as trustees, banks, and insurance companies. Whereas sa unfunded plan naman, hindi establish yung employer entity ng separate fund and yung pinagkukunan nila ng benefits na ibibigay sa mga retiring employees ay for general use. So, ang difference naman ng funded and unfunded plan is that merong third party sa funded plan. While sa unfunded plan is walang third party na involved. Yung entity mismo yung nag-shoulder ng payment obligation. So, let's proceed na sa accounting ng defined contribution plan. And dito, sinasabi na kahit same lang ang concept ang defined contribution plan at defined benefit plan, ikakatalo pa rin sila sa accounting treatment. The defined contribution plan kasi, yung contribution ay tinitreat as expense, which is debit ang normal balance, then may corresponding cash na nakakredit. And in cases na yung amount na binayaran mo is mas malaki compared sa undiscounted amount of benefits, magkakaroon ka ng prepaid asset. Which is, dahil nga mas malaki yung inilabas mo na pera compared sa dapat ilabas mo naman talaga, is magkakaroon ka ng asset. Wherein kapag yung amount na binayaran mo is mas mababa compared sa undiscounted amount of benefits, magkakaroon ka ng utang since kailangan mo isettle yung amount na dapat na bayaran mo. So, para mas ma-visualize natin yung accounting treatment sa defined contribution plan, let's take a look sa illustration na nasa screen. Morales Company maintains a defined contribution plan for its office workers that requires the company to pay 5% of its net income before tax due on December 31 of each year. For the year 2023, the company reported 24 million net income before tax. Report. Under each of the following scenarios, determine the single journal entry to record payment of the required contribution. Number 1, the company paid 1 million. Number 2, the company paid 1,250,000. So, to record the transaction, yung journal entry sa scenario 1 is magdadebit tayo ng retirement expense. Since it's a problem, 5% ng 24 million ang amount ng benefit na mabibigay sa mga retiring employees. Kapag kinapit yun, mag-iikot sa 1,200,000. Then, magka-credit tayo ng cash na 1 million since sa ating scenario 1, ang nabayaran ng company ay 1 million. And since mas malaki yung undiscounted amount ng retirement benefit, magkakaroon tayo ng credit na accrued liability which amounts to 200,000. Then, to record the transaction ng scenario 2, yung journal entry is mag-debit tayo ng retirement expense amount 1,200,000. Then, mag-debit din tayo ng prepaid expense retirement na 150,000. Sabi sa scenario 2 is ang nabayaran ng company is 1,350,000, which is mas malaki ng 150,000 compare sa amount ng benefit na dapat ng bayaran which amounts to 1,200,000. So let's proceed naman sa accounting for defined benefit plans. So accounting for defined benefit plans also means accounting for the following. As in defined benefit obligation or projected benefit obligation, and this is the present value of the estimate of the entity's retirement obligation in the future. Pangalawa naman is yung retirement fund or plan assets, on to which contributions are made to your returns that can be used to reduce the amount of retirement cost and from which the retirement benefits are paid. Mas mag-focus tayo dito sa una, which is yung defined benefit obligations. And sa mga susunod na slide is magkakaroon tayo ng illustration para dito. So, defined benefit obligation, it represents the estimated amount a company is obligated to pay in the future to fulfill its pension or retirement promises to employees. So in simple terms, the company's best estimate of the total amount it will need to have on hand to cover the pension payments and other retirement benefits to its retiring employees. So, the accounting for defined benefit obligation has the following characteristics. Una, it shall make actuarial assumptions and estimates. So, actuarial assumptions, ito yung best estimates of variables na magdedetermine sa ultimate cost ng post-employment benefit. So, pangalawa naman is, it is discounted in nature. Discounted means kinukuha natin yung present value ng future cash flows. Then, pangatlo naman is as assumptions might change in the future, which results to the recognition of actuarial gains and losses. Dito naman, since nag-estimate na lang tayo, darating yung future date na yung madaderive natin na amount is hindi siya tumadon sa na-estimate natin. So, mag-recognize talaga tayo ng actuarial gains kung mas mataas yung nakuha natin, mas mataas yung na-derive natin na amount is na-estimate natin, and mag-recognize tayo ng actuarial loss kung yung na-derive na amount is less than sa yung na-derive na amount is less than dun sa na-estimate natin na amount. So, to be able to compute the present value of defined benefit obligation, an entity should follow this procedure as a three-step approach. So, your first approach is to apply actuarial valuation method. So, an entity should use the projected unit credit method in determining the present value of its defined benefit obligation and the other amounts. This method sees each period of service as giving rise to an additional unit of benefit entitlement and measure each unit separately to build up the final obligation. So, yung projected unit credit method yung tutukoy dito is that ito yung na-earn na unit credit ng retiring employees every year of service nila na makukuha nila kapag nag-retire na sila. So, pangalawang step naman is attribute benefit to period of service. Determining the present value of its defined benefit obligations and the related amounts, an entity shall allocate the benefit to periods of service under the plan's formula. So, for example, the entity it grants 50,000 retirement benefit for every year of service from the time of the employment up to the expected retirement date of the employee. So, based on this plan, an entity attributes 50,000 for every year of service of the employee. So, yung present value ng 50,000, mag-increase siya based sa amount ng defined benefit obligation each year as the employee renders 1 year of service. So mamaya sa illustration, mas makikita natin kung paano nga ba itong pag-attribute na ginagawa. So, yung panghuling step naman is to make actuarial assumptions. So, kagaya ng sabi ko kanina, yung actuarial assumptions, ito yung best estimate na entity sa variables na magdedetermine sa ultimate cost ng post-employment benefits. So, yung actuarial assumption, meron siyang dalawang libre. Yung demographic assumptions and yung financial assumption na i-discuss natin sa next slide. So, demographic assumptions primarily involve factors related to the characteristics and behaviors of the plan participants, such as their life expectancy, retirement age, and turnover rates. Life expectancy, for example, is crucial in determining the duration over to which the retirement benefits will be paid. So, financial assumption, on the other hand, pertains to economic and financial variables that will impact the pension plan's funding, such as the expected rate of returns on plan assets, salary increases, and inflation rates. So both sets of assumptions are essential in determining the overall financial health of the retirement plan and are critical inputs in the actuarial models used for valuations and financial reporting. So, sinasabi ng dito sa slide na to is that discounted na gagamitin para makuha yung present value every year ng retirement benefit plan na makukuha ng retiring employee is nakabase sa una, sa market yields of high-quality corporate bonds, and kung hindi yun available is mag-base tayo sa market yields ng government bonds. So, kapag nagawa na yung 3-step approach na na-discuss sa mga previous slides, mag-result yun sa mga estimated amounts ng service cost, interest expense, and actuarial gains and losses. So, service cost, may tatlong cost pa na nakapaloob. Nakapaloob doon, yung una rito is yung current service cost. Magbigay tayo ng example para mas maliwanagan tayo sa kung ano nga ba yung current service cost. For example, yung isang employee at the age of 25 is nag-bigay siya ng serbisyo sa isang entity. Assuming na mag-retire siya at the age of 60 years old. Aside sa salary na natatanggap niya every year, nakakatanggap din siya ng another compensation na hindi mo niya makukuha ngayon pero later on, kapag nag-retire siya, ay doon na niya makukuha. Kaya, kailangan i-record yun sa current year kung kailan niya ginawa yung service na yun. Ginagawa to para mag-adhere tayo sa matching principle. Matatanggap ng employee kapag nag-retire siya ay yun yung tinatawag na current service cost. And next naman is yung past service cost. So dito naman nangyayari is nagkakaroon ng changes sa plan ng isang entity sa current year and retroactive yung effect nun. Kaya nadadamay pati yung past transaction which is nag-result sa pagbabago ng past service cost. Gamitin natin yung same example kanina sa current service cost and let's say na at the age of 32 years old is nagtatrabaho pa rin yung individual sa entity na yun. Then, nagkaroon ng changes sa plan na nag-exist ng 25 years old siya. Kahit na ngayon lang nangyari yun, mag-retroact yun and kung ano yung amount na madaderive sa year na to dahil sa change na nangyari sa retirement plan, madadala yun hanggang past na makaapektuhan din yung mga present values na madaderive mo hanggang mag-retire ka na talaga. And so, last is the service cost is yung gain or loss on settlement of post-employment benefits. So, nangyayari to kapag yung dating unfunded plan ay naging funded plan. Dahil nagkaroon ng involvement ng third party, for example, ay yung trustees, since ipapahawak mo yung fund mo sa another entity, magkakaroon kayo ng another settlement na magkakaroon naman ng settlement price. And since yung fund ay asset, maaari talagang mag-derive yun sa gain or loss kung hindi nagtugma yung settlement price at yung present value ng settled benefit. So, kapag mas mataas yung settlement price sa present value of settled benefit, magkakaroon ng loss since parang nalugi ka pa sa part na to nung pinenta mo yung benefit sa another entity. And kapag naman mas mataas yung mas mababa yung settlement price sa present value of settled benefit is magkakaroon ng gain since parang nagkaroon ka ng advantage over dun sa pagbebenta mo ng benefit. So, dumako naman tayo sa interest expense. Itong expense na to ay kakabit siya ng current service cost since measured na siya on a discounted basis. Kaya yung difference sa mismong present value na nakakompute yung mag-serve as interest expense ng isang entity. So lastly, dumako na tayo sa actuarial gains and losses. Ito lang yung changes sa present value, defined benefit obligation, na nagre-resulta sa effects ng differences between previous actuarial assumptions and dun sa mga mismong future cash flow na na-derive after ng retirement, and also dun sa mga effects ng changes in actuarial assumptions. So magkakaroon ng loss kapag yung change ay nag-result sa pagtaas ng liability, which means kailangan mo pong bunuin yung amount ng benefit na naka-state sa agreement. Magkakaroon naman ng gain kapag yung change ay nag-result sa pagtaas ay pagbaba ng liability, which is an advantage to the entity kasi may babalik pang amount dun sa na-contribute nila. So, yung mga amount na nabanggit kanina, which is yung service cost, interest expense, and yung actuarial gains or losses, gagamitin natin yan para ma-determine yung ending balance ng defined benefit obligation, which is makikita natin sa performa na to na yung beginning defined benefit obligation, i-add natin doon yung interest expense na mako-compute natin kapag pinag-multiply natin yung beginning discount rate at yung beginning na defined benefit obligation. I-add din natin yung current and past service costs at yung actuarial losses. Tapos, ilalas natin dyan yung benefits paid to retirees in accordance with the retirement plan, and settled benefit at present value, at yung actuarial gains. And mag-equal yun sa ending defined benefit obligation. So, on the other hand, the following amounts are recognized in the entity's total comprehensive income. So, as net expense and profit or loss, i-record natin yung current and past service costs, interest expense, tapos yung loss on settlement, and ililas natin kapag gain on settlement. Tapos mag-equal yun sa net expense recognized in profit or loss. Tapos kapag net deduction naman from other comprehensive income, yung actuarial losses, if any, is ililas natin sa actuarial gains, if any. Equal yun sa net retirement cost recognized in other comprehensive income. So, mag-proceed na tayo sa illustration ng defined benefit obligation in an individual employee basis. So, para mas magamit natin yung forma na kanina pinakita natin is magsusolve na tayo using this illustration. So, Belinda, a 55-year-old newly hired employee on January 1, 2023, is currently earning $8,000 per month. Her employer provides a retirement benefit of 1 month's salary for every year of employment. To receive the monthly salary at the time of retirement. It is expected that she will be retiring at the age of 60 years old on January 1, 2028, and that her monthly salary will be at $9,000 per month at that time. So relevant discount rate is 7% required. And this information determine the amounts of current service cost, interest expense, and defined benefit obligation for each year from 2022 to 2027. So, bago tayo directly mag-solve ng computation is that i-identify muna natin yung mga actuarial assumptions. So, demographic assumption, sinabi doon na estimated retirement age niya is 60 years old. Financial assumption naman is future salary niya ay magiging 9,000 at the time of the retirement and discount rate ay 7%. So, sa slide na to, di ba kanina dun sa three-step approach na diniscuss natin is meron dong attribute to benefit of 2 periods of service. So, ito na yung part na yon na yung future salary na financial assumption kanina is i-attribute natin siya sa each year na service ni Belinda. And if she will continue her service after her expected retirement date after 5 years, she will be entitled to 45,000 retirement benefit, which is multiply natin yung 9,000 ng future salary sa 5 years. So, sa slide na to, makikita natin na um, nagkaroon na ng dalawang rules, which is yung period until January 1, 2028, which is yung year kung kailan expected na mag-retire si Belinda. So, makikita natin dito na every year is bumababa yung period since yun yung kung ilan na nga lang ba yung period na pagsiservice pa si Belinda doon sa company na yun. So, dito naman is sa last row, makikita natin yung present value or yung current service cost. So dito, nakuha natin yan, yung present value na yan, gamit yung pag-solve ng PV factor. And sa next slide, makikita natin yung computation na yun. So, dito sa slide na to is kukumpita natin yung present value ng attributed benefit. So, sa year 2023, yung PV factor ng single payment for 4 period at 7% is magkakaroon ng PV factor na 0.762895. And i-multiply natin yun sa attributed benefit na mag-equal sa current service cost na 6,866. Sa year 2024 naman, single payment for 3 periods of at 7%, magkakaroon ng PV factor na 0.816298 and multiply lang din again sa 9,000 na attributed benefit and mag-equal sa current service cost na 7,347. Then sa year 2025, which is 2 years before yung 2028, and PV factor of single payment niya for 2 periods at 7% is mag-result sa PV factor na 0.875439. The attributed benefit nun is ita-times natin, then mag-result siya sa current cost na 7,861. Then lastly, 2026 single payment for 1 period at 7%, mag-result dun sa PV factor na 0.934579, next times ulit sa attributed benefit na 9,000, mag-result sa current service cost na 8,411. So, dito sa slide na to, dito na natin ipapakita yung pro forma na i-discuss natin kanina. Dito na natin siya lalagyan ng mga amounts. So, sa 2023, yung beginning defined benefit obligation at yung interest expense is blanco pa sila since dito pa lang start yung employment ni Belinda dun sa company. Pero yung current service cost is magkakaroon na siya ng amount since kumpita mo natin kanina yung present value niya, which is 6,866. And yun din yung ending defined benefit obligation. Sabi dito sa book, yung ending balance ng defined benefit obligation last year, yung magiging beginning balance for the current year. So, yung beginning defined benefit obligation sa 2024 is 6,866. Magkakaroon na din ng interest expense 481 since mayroon na nga tayong defined benefit obligation na siya naman din mahalaga para makakuha tayo ng interest expense since doon natin multiply yung discount rate na 7%. And kapag dinains natin yung 7% sa 6,866 is mag-result siya sa 481. Kapag in-add natin yung dalawa na yan is mag-result siya sa current service cost na 7,347. Pero itong 7,347 din na to is ito yung same amount na compute natin sa present value kanina, 2024. So, kapag in-add natin yung lahat is mag-result siya sa 14,694 pesos. So, sa 2025 naman, yung 14,694 yung beginning defined benefit obligation. I-add natin yung interest expense ng 1,029. Then, um, i- um, i-add din natin yung current service cost na compute natin kanina sa present value na 7,861. Add lang yung lahat and then mag-result yun sa 23,584. Then, yun yung gagamitin natin na beginning defined benefit obligation sa year 2026, which is i-add natin sa interest expense na 1,651, add ulit yung complete present value as current service cost, and mag-equal yun sa 23,646 na again gagamitin sa last year, which is 2027, na i-add sa interest expense ng 2,354 and then add ulit dun sa pinaka-future salary na binanggit kanina. Since wala nga present value yun and 2027 na rin naman last year, yun yung gagamitin natin kapag in-add lahat, equal yun sa 45,000 pesos. All honesty, medyo complicated talaga tong defined benefit obligation. Pero I hope pinag kayo and thank you for listening.
Good day, everyone. So, this discussion is just a continuation of the previous report of Miss Natalie, in which she talked about the definition of post employment benefits, the differences between the defined contribution plan and the defined benefit plan, and also how to compute for the defined benefit obligation on an individual employee basis. Since clear na naman sa atin ang definitions at kaibahan ng mga terms na ito, let us move on to the illustration and computation ng total obligation of an entity sa defined benefit plans na binibigay nito sa kanilang mga empleyado in a year, and yung amount of cost that they must recognize in the accounts of profit or loss and other comprehensive income. So, let us proceed sa illustration 4. Bago ko basahin itong problem, tignan muna natin kung ano ba yung mga requirements. Ang requirements is 1. The defined benefit obligation as of December 31, 2023, retirement cost to be recognized in 2023 profit or loss, retirement cost to be recognized in 2023 other comprehensive income. So, ayun nga. As of December 31, 2022, the actuarial valuation report of Mercado Company reported a balance of 3,400,000 pesos. So, to better understand and para mas maging clear sa atin, let us use Excel sa pagko-compute ng mga problems na ito. So, lipat tayo. Yan. So, as of January 1, 2023, we have the balance, the beginning balance of 3,400,000 pesos, which is yung ending balance sa problem na noong December 31, 2022. So, as we all know naman, ayun ang gagamitin nating beginning balance. Lipat ulit tayo. Basahin natin na, ayun nga, this amount is computed using the discount rate of 8%. Itong 8%, ayan yung gagamitan natin to compute for the interest expense ng year na ito. So, during the year 2023, current service costs and past service costs amounted to 600,000 pesos and 100,000 pesos respectively. Nag-incur din ng actuarial losses due to a decrease in employee turnover amounted to 450,000 pesos. So, itong mga binanggit na to, current service cost, past service cost, and actuarial losses, sila yung mga i-add natin sa beginning balance ng defined benefit obligation. So, dito, ayan. Ayan sila. interest expense, current service cost, past service cost, and actuarial losses, which amounts to here. So, itong interest expense, it was computed by multiplying 3,400,000 pesos to 8%. Itong current service cost, as is lang sila. And, proceed tayo sa next. Actuarial gains from the increase in discount rate to 9% as of December 31, 2023 amounted to 270,000 pesos. Payments to retirees amounted to 850,000 pesos, and retirement obligation na settled by the company with a present value of 320,000 pesos is also kasama doon. And and the settlement of a retirement obligation with present value of 320,000 pesos by paying the concerned employee 350,000 cash is also included. So, ito siya. Yan. Paid benefits to retirees, settled benefits, actuarial gains with the amount of these amounts. So, mapapansin natin na yung ginamit nating amount for settled benefits is yung 320,000 pesos, which is the present value, not the cash paid ng entity sa empleyado. So, that is because wala pa tayong pakialam sa kung magkano ba yung binigay niya sa empleyado. We are only concerned sa present value kasi nga defined benefit obligation pa lang tayo. Magkakaroon tayo ng pakialam dyan kapag kinompute na natin yung plan assets, which will be discussed later. So, para sa defined benefit obligation December 31, 2023, we have 3,392,000 pesos. Para sa second requirement naman, which is ang retirement cost to be recognized in 2023 profit or loss, ang gagamitin lang natin dyan is these accounts. Interest expense, current service cost, and past service cost, which amounts to same lang din noong nasa taas. Ang kaibahan lang nito ay nagkaroon ng loss on settlement. So, ano ba tong loss on settlement? Di ba kanina nakita natin na may difference between the cash paid ng entity compared doon sa present value ng mismong obligation. So, 350,000 yung cash paid, 320,000 yung present value. That's why we have 30,000 here, which is naging loss ng entity kasi mas malaki yung binayad niya compared sa present value. Then, ipag-add lang natin sila to get the total of 1,012,000 sa total amount recognized in 2023 profit or loss. Next naman. Next is yung for the retirement cost to be recognized in 2023 other comprehensive income. It shall compose of the actuarial losses and actuarial gains. So, i-add natin tong actuarial losses na 450,000 minus actuarial gains na 270,000. Yan. To get the total amount of 180,000 pesos. Bigyan natin na. Yan. So, nakuha na natin yung net retirement cost sa profit or loss and sa other comprehensive income. How about the total comprehensive income? So, total comprehensive income comprises of the net income and the other comprehensive income. And sa illustration na to, it is computed by this. 1,012,000 pesos plus 180,000 pesos, we will get 1,192,000 pesos. So, dito naman tayo, accounting for plan assets. So, plan assets are held by an entity. It is a fund that is legally separate from the reporting entity. It exists solely to pay or fund employee benefits. It is measured at their fair value and reduced by liabilities that are unrelated to employee benefits, which will produce the net asset value of the fund. So ito yung fund na minamanage ng entity to provide sa magiging benefit payments nito sa kanilang employees. These are the plan assets. These assets may be transferred sa ibang entity para sila na yung mag-manage and therefore mawawalan yung, ng control yung reporting entity sa fund na ito. So example nitong pinagtatransferan ng reporting entity is yung mga bangko. So, kapag gano'n yung ginawa niya, ang gagawin na lang ng reporting entity is to provide contributions to these assets and therefore collect the returns. So, saan nga, dito rin papasok yung tanong kung saan nga ba napupunta yung contributions ng employees. Dito siya napupunta sa plan assets. These plan assets only have one specific purpose, and that is to pay or fund employee benefits. It is solely allocated for them and hindi ito pwedeng gamiting pambayad utang sa creditors ng entity even in the case of bankruptcy, unlike other assets, diba? However, mayroon namang exceptions to this rule, and that is if the remaining assets of the fund are sufficient to meet all related benefit obligations and kung nabayaran na yung benefits ng employees through the returns of the assets. And if either one sa mga ito ay na-meet ng reporting entity, the plan assets may be returned to the entity and may be used to pay for debts. Kasi nga, wala na namang pagbabayaran yung plan assets kasi nasettle na naman yung purpose niya. Done, parang tapos na yung purpose niya and therefore, pwede na siyang mag-benefit, pwede na siyang gamitin ng reporting entity, pwede nang mag-produce ng benefit sa entity. So, yun. Plan assets does not include the following: unpaid contributions due from the entity and any non-transferable financial instruments issued by the entity and held by the fund. So itong plan assets, they are assets nga na kinontribute ng employer and sinabi ko nga kanina na they may be sold or transferred sa ibang entity. So therefore, kapag wala pang contributions yung reporting entity, syempre, or they are supposed to contribute but have not or hindi pa nakakabayad nga ng contributions, syempre hindi yun kasama sa plan assets. Ito namang non-transferable financial instruments. Ayan yung mga pwedeng securities na ininvest ng entity sa fund. However, hindi siya pwedeng matransfer. Kunwari, hindi siya pwedeng matransfer sa mga bangko, ganun. And that's why, hindi siya pwedeng isama sa plan assets. Kasi one of the characteristic ng plan asset is pwedeng ipasa sa iba yung pagmamanage niya. So kapag merong ganyang ininvest yung entity na financial instruments, hindi siya pwedeng isama. Ayun, kasi restricted siya to transfer. Ito naman. Question. What are the reasons for establishing a separate fund from which retirement benefits will be paid? Answer, to reduce retirement costs. So ito yung primary reason kung bakit naggumagawa pa ng separate fund yung entity. And that is because kung may separate fund, they will use the returns of that fund and because it has the possibility to earn through the passage of time such as interest income and other earnings, which will actually help in reducing the retirement costs that the entity will incur in the future, will surely incur in the future. And furthermore, it helps din po na mayroon ng allocated amount for the benefit obligation because this is a fixed obligation. No matter how the financial performance of the reporting entity may turn out, malugi man o mag-profit, they are still obligated to pay the employees the benefits that they have promised in exchange for the years that they have given to the company. So, dahil nga may fund na ito, hindi na sila mamomroblema in the future if ever man nagkaroon ng deficit or nalugi yung company nila. Kasi they are obligated to pay the employees these exact amounts na sinabi nilang babayaran nila. Ayun, that is the significance of the separate funds ng mga employers. Transactions and amounts affecting plan assets. We have 5. Contributions of the entity, payments to retirees, settlement price paid, actual return or loss on plan assets, and withdrawals from plan assets. So para mas makita natin kung paano ba naapektuhan ng transactions involving these five, yung plan assets, kung nag-increase ba or nagdi-decrease ba yung plan assets due to these, let us proceed sa next slide. So ayan yung pro forma entry. Pero meron akong ginawang table para mas maintindihan natin and mas pasimplihan natin. So, ayan. Meron tayong transactions na nag-i-increase and nagde-decrease sa plan assets. So, sa first, actual return. Kapag yung fund income is mas mataas kaysa sa fund expenses, we will add that to plan assets. Pero kapag mas maliit yung fund income kaysa sa fund expenses, which means mas malaki yung expenses na incur mo, that is actual loss. So, ide-deduct natin yan. Ang isa pang i-add sa plan assets is yung contributions na binibigay ng entity or yung additional funds na binibigay ng entity sa plan assets. And then ide-deduct yung amount of benefits paid to retirees, withdrawals from the fund, and settlement price of settled benefits. So itong settlement price, di ba kanina ginamit natin present value, dito naman yung cash paid na. Dahil kung ano man yung amount of cash na binayad ng entity from the plan assets, it is equal naman talaga sa mababawas sa plan assets. So, it directly naapektuhan na nung mismong cash paid ng settled benefits yung plan assets. And that's why it shall be equal sa kung magkano ba yung binayad talaga ng entity compared doon sa defined benefit obligation. Kasi nga, plan assets na to. Yun. Dito naman tayo sa accounting for actual returns. So, reporting-wise, the amount of actual returns or loss is split into the following. A. Interest income, and B. Remeasurement gain or loss. I think we all know naman na the concept of interest income. Dito tayo sa remeasurement gain or loss. So, for a clearer understanding, let me give an example. So, kunwari, nag-set up si entity ng isang fund or yun nga, plan assets in the year 2023. However, yung actual benefit payments na kukunin sa fund na iyon is kukunin pa after 60 years, which is the year 2083. In that long period of time, it is inevitable na magbabago yung value ng plan assets. Therefore, every year, may minimeasure tayong remeasurement gain or loss. Itong remeasurement is the change of value between the value ng plan assets in the prior year and yung value niya ngayong taon na ito. So, it may either be a gain or loss and may arise from increase in interest and increase sa fair value of a particular property if ever man nag-invest ng property si entity. Pwede ring unrealized gain sa stocks na binili ng entity for the fund. So, kasama rin dito sa remeasurement na ito ang interest income that the entity may earn, but it shall be allocated sa profit or loss, which is yung letter A nga. Yung matitira when that interest has been allocated, ito na yung ilalagay sa other comprehensive income. So, yung sinabi ko ngayon, mas maintindihan natin siya sa next slide. So, ito yung way para ma-compute yung interest income and remeasurement of gain or loss. Interest income, beginning balance of plan assets multiplied to discount rate. So, yung discount rate na gagamitin natin is always the discount rate at the beginning of the period, not at the end of the period. Kasi 'di ba medyo sanay tayo na yung discount rate na ginagamit natin is yung end of the period. Sa remeasurement gain or loss naman, we have actual returns minus computed interest income. So, paano natin masasabi kung yung remeasurement ba ay gain or loss? So, this is the table that will tell us kung ano nga ba yung remeasurement natin. So, kung yung actual return is positive or nagkaroon tayo ng income, titignan natin kung yung actual return ba is mas mataas sa interest income. Kapag ganun, we will record the remeasurement as gain. Pero kapag mas maliit naman yung actual return kaysa sa interest income, it is a loss. Kapag actual return is negative naman or nagkaroon tayo ng loss, lagi nating i-measure as equal to the amount of loss plus the net amount of interest income. So let's proceed to illustration 5 where we will compute for the interest income and remeasurement gain or loss kapag iba-iba yung actual returns. So let's read. At the beginning of 2023, Aguilar Company reported a beginning balance in its planned assets amounting to 5,600,000 pesos. The relevant discount rate used to compute the present value of defined benefit obligation as of January 1, 2023 is 6%. The relevant discount rate used to compute the present value of defined benefit obligation as of December 31, 2023 is 7%. So makikita natin that na magkaiba nga yung discount rate. So as I said kanina, yung gagamitin natin is yung relevant discount rate at the beginning of the period, which is 6%. The requirement is determine the amounts of interest income and remeasurement gain or loss if the actual return is 500,000, actual return is 200,000 pesos, or there is an actual loss of 100,000 pesos. Yan. We have 500, 200,000 as gain and 100,000 na loss. So next is ililess natin, di ba, yung net income. So paano ba i-compute yung net income? It is computed by multiplying 5,600,000 sa 6% na discount rate ng beginning of the period. So, ayan, ito yung net income. Yan. And then, para makuha yung remeasurement gain or loss, i-deduct sila. Yan, these are the measurement gain or loss ng bawat scenario. Sa scenario 1, meron tayong gain kasi mas mataas yung actual return kasi interest income. Sa scenario 2, we have loss kasi kahit na may actual gain tayo, mas mababa pa rin daw kaysa sa interest income natin. And then sa scenario 2, we have loss. Kasi yung loss natin, in-add natin sa interest income. And that's why meron tayong loss na 436,000 pesos. So let us proceed sa effects of contributions and payments from the planned assets in interest income computation. So sa kanina nating computations, ina-assume lang natin na there are no additional contributions or payment from the fund during the year, and yung contributions or payment from the fund are made at the end of the year. Pero in actual practice daw, syempre, hindi naman palaging at the end of the year nangyayari yung contributions and hindi rin palaging constant lang yung contributions and walang additional payment. So, mas paliliwanagin natin sa part na ito. So, the first thing we must remember is yung contributions, they have an increasing effect sa planned assets and payments have decreasing effect. And letter B, the effect shall be time-weighted and will depend on the length of time from the date these contributions and payments occur up to the reporting date. And C, the weighted average planned assets shall be multiplied with the discount rate at the beginning of the period to obtain the interest income during the current period. So, yung C, parang nagawa na rin natin siya kanina and napakita ko na lang ulit mamaya. Yung pinaka-focus natin dito is yung A and B. So we have illustration 6. At the beginning of 2023, Navarro Company reported beginning balance of 3,200,000 in its planned assets. So ilagay natin yan sa Excel. At i-establish muna natin kung ano ba yung mga kailangan natin na given for this illustration. Kailangan natin ng date kung kailan ba ginawa or kinontribute yung contributions, kung magkano, yung time to December 31, which is yung reporting period, like how much time is left until December 31, yung weighting factor na gagamitin natin para makuha yung weighted amounts. So, January 1, meron tayong beginning balance ng 3,200,000 pesos and April 1, 2023, contribution of 800,000 pesos and nagkaroon tayo ng payment sa retirees na 1,200,000 pesos. So, punta tayo dito. April and September with the amounts of, yan. So, meron tayong increasing effect sa contributions and decreasing effect naman dito sa payments. So, ilang months na lang ba before the reporting period? Lagay natin yan dito. We only have 12 months kasi nga from January, meron pang 12 months before December 31. From April, we have 9 months and from September, we have 4 months. Weighting factor, gagamitin natin yan for the last one. So weighted amounts, we will multiply amounts and yung weighting factor para makuha yung weighted amounts. And we will compute for that para makuha yung weighted average plan assets, which is 3,400,000 pesos. So, very similar lang din siya sa mga pinag-aralan natin last chapters. So, para naman makuha yung interest income, parang kanina lang din, yung computed weighted average, i-multiply natin sa Di pinapansin sa tabi, nagulong kapaligiran, ikaw lang ating... Ay, sa'yo lang ang tingin. Kaya nga. And so the interest income for this illustration is 272,000 pesos. And para makuha natin yung remeasurement gain or loss, let us use that interest income, actual return 320,000 pesos, interest income 272,000 pesos. I-deduct natin siya, which we will get the remeasurement gain of 48,000 pesos. Dito naman tayo sa comprehensive accounting for plan assets. So before ko basahin yung illustration 7, let us first see kung ano ba yung required sa illustration na to. So A, balance of plan assets as of December 31, 2023, interest income, and remeasurement gain or loss. Manalo Company reported a beginning balance of 8 million for 2023 and yung expected rate of return niya is 10% and yung discount rate as of December 31, 2022 is 9%. So, wag tayo malilito kasi hindi dapat natin gamitin yung expected rate of return. Instead, itong 9% yung gagamitin natin. Dahil ito yung discount rate at the beginning of the period ng 2023 since it is the discount rate of the end of the period of 2022. So yun nga, during the year, additional contributions of 2.2 million were made to the fund and 1.2 million were paid to retirees. So meron tayong contributions and meron din tayong payments. So in addition, retirement liability with present value of 200,000 was settled by paying 170,000 pesos from the fund. So makikita natin na ito walang bold yung 200,000 pesos kasi it is not relevant. Ang relevant is yung cash paid ng entity which is 170,000 pesos. For the year 2023, the plan assets earned 600,000 pesos of return. So proceed naman tayo sa Excel para mas makita natin. So illustration 7, we have the beginning balance of plan assets na 8 million, actual returns. And we also have contributions to the plan assets which amounts to 2.2 million pesos. Ilalas naman natin yung settlement price equal to the cash paid, not the present value, and yung amount of benefits paid to retirees. And pag inad and deduct natin sila, we will get 9,430,000 pesos. Para naman makuha yung interest income, same process lang din sa kanina. Ayan, plan assets, beginning balance, multiply to 9% na discount rate. We will get 720,000 pesos. Gagamitin natin yan to get the remeasurement gain or loss, which is computed by this. Ayan natin. Yan, actual return less interest income which resulted to remeasurement loss kasi mas maliit yung actual return kaysa sa interest income. That's why we have a loss of 120,000 pesos. Yan. Ayan, we have completed the requirements. So, ito yung answer sa letter A, answer sa letter B, and answer sa letter C. My part for the Chapter 12A Post-Employment Benefits has been completed. Let us proceed to Ms. Julie Rose Maniacup to report for the remaining topics.
So, good day everyone. I am Julie Rose Maniacup and I am the last reporter of Chapter 12A regarding post-employment benefits. So, to continue to our topic, ngayon naman ang i-discuss ko is about accounting for both defined benefit obligation and planned assets. So, hindi ko na i-discuss kung ano ba yung meaning ng defined benefit obligation and planned assets since na-discuss na naman siya ng ating previous reporters. So dito, ang sabi ay, most entity consults with an actuary to calculate its retirement obligation and maintains planned assets primarily with banks and other financial institutions, and as a result, in practice, an entity simultaneously accounts for defined benefit obligation and planned assets. So, ang meaning lang nito ay meron tayong mga professional na tinatawag na nating actuarian na kung saan sila yung nagko-compute or yung nagka-calculate ng retirement obligation and kung paano ba ma-maintain ng entity yung kanilang mga planned assets. And as a result nga daw nito, simultaneously ina-account ng entity yung kanilang defined benefit obligation and planned assets. So now, paano naman yung presentation of net retirement asset or liability? So, common misconception kasi na yung defined benefit obligation and plan assets is separately i-report as liability or asset sa statement of financial position. Pero ang correct way ng pagre-report nito is kukunin natin yung net amount between defined benefit obligation and plan assets. So ito nga yung ating pro forma. Defined benefit obligation less plan assets is equal to net retirement liability or asset. So, ito naman yung rule na kailangan din nating tandaan. Kapag yung defined benefit obligation is greater than planned assets, yung difference nila i-report natin sa net retirement liability. And kapag naman yung defined benefit obligation is less than planned assets or yung planned assets nga is greater defined benefit obligation, i-report naman natin siya as net retirement asset, yung kanilang difference. So, yung kailangan natin tandaan ay yung net retirement liability is included in the non-current liability section sa ating balance sheet, while yung net retirement asset naman is included naman sa non-current asset section ng ating balance sheet. So, meron tayo ditong sample illustration. So, Gutierrez Company has an ending balance of defined benefit obligation amounting to 4,800,000 pesos. So, a requirement natin, under each of the following independent scenarios, determine the amount of net retirement liability or asset. So, yung number 1, ang given natin na planned assets is 4,500,000 pesos. So, yung defined benefit obligation natin is 4.8 million while yung planned assets natin is 4.5 million. So, meron tayong difference na 300,000 pesos. And since yung defined benefit obligation is higher compared to planned assets, yung 300,000 pesos na difference nila is i-report natin siya as net retirement liability. Next, yung sa scenario 2 naman, sabi, the planned assets amounted to 5,200,000 pesos. So, meron silang difference na 400,000 pesos. So, in this case, mas mataas naman yung planned assets kumpara sa defined benefit obligation. May difference tayo na 400,000 and with that, i-report naman natin siya as net retirement assets dahil nga mas mataas si plan assets kumpara kay defined benefit obligation. Now, let's talk about accounting for total retirement costs. So, bago tayo mag-arrive sa total retirement cost na ma-recognize sa ating comprehensive income, kailangan muna nating hanapin yung net retirement cost recognized in profit or loss and yung net retirement cost recognized in other comprehensive income. So, meron tayong proforma dito or yung formula na ating susundin para mag-arrive nga tayo dun sa mga nabanggit ko. So, unahin muna natin yung net retirement cost recognized in profit or loss. So, dito, yung current and past service costs, i-add lang natin doon yung interest expense on defined benefit obligation. I-add din natin yung loss on settlement kung mayroon man tayo na incur na loss. And ang ilaless naman natin ay yung gain on settlement kung mayroong gain. And ilaless din natin yung interest income on plan assets. And with that, mag-a-arrive na tayo sa net retirement cost recognized in profit or loss. Ito naman yung proforma para mag-arrive tayo sa net retirement cost recognized in OCI or other comprehensive income. So, actuarial losses on defined benefit obligation, i-add lang natin dun yung remeasurement loss on plan assets kung mayroon man tayong loss. And ang ilaless naman natin ay yung actuarial gains on defined benefit obligation and ilaless din natin yung remeasurement gains on plan assets if may gain. And with that, mag-a-arrive naman tayo sa net retirement cost recognized in OCI. So, ito na nga yung sinasabi ko kanina. So, yung total retirement cost in comprehensive income, para makuha siya, is ipag-add lang natin yung net expense recognized in profit or loss and yung net expense na na-recognize natin sa other comprehensive income. Ngayon naman, meron tayong sample illustration regarding accounting for total retirement cost. So, pwede rin po kayong mag-refer sa page 424 ng ating book dahil andito rin naman yung illustration. Pero, babasahin ko na din for further understanding. So, at the end of 2022, Gonzalez Company's actuarial valuation report showed balances of 7,300,000 pesos and 6,200,000 pesos for its defined benefit obligation and plan assets respectively. During the year 2023, the following transactions occurred. Letter A. Current service cost and past service cost amounted to 700,000 pesos and 240,000 respectively. Letter B. Contributions to the fund amounted to 500,000 pesos while actual return amounted to 750,000 pesos. Letter C. Actuarial losses due to changes in financial assumptions amounted to 900,000 pesos. Letter D. Actuarial gains due to changes in demographic assumptions amounted to 100,000 pesos, while actuarial losses due to experience adjustments amounted to 300,000 pesos. Letter E. Payments to retirees amounted to 1 million pesos, while retirement liability with present value of 420,000 was settled for 370,000 pesos. Letter F. Discount rate based on the 2022 AVR is 7%, while it is 9% as of December 31, 2023 AVR. In addition, the plan assets are expected to earn 12% return. So, from the given information, ito yung kailangan nating hanapin na amount. So, number 1, yung defined benefit obligation as of December 31, 2023. Number 2, yung plan assets. 3, amount to be presented in balance sheet. 4, net retirement expense in profit or loss. And lastly, yung net retirement cost to be reported in other comprehensive income. So now, kunin muna natin yung ating first requirement, which is yung defined benefit obligation as of December 31, 2023. So, given naman yung beginning ng defined benefit obligation natin amounting 7,300,000, i-add natin yung interest expense, which is 7,300,000 pesos times 7% equals to 511,000 pesos. So, i-take note lang natin na ay ang ginamit nating basis ng discount rate ay yung beginning ng 2023 at hindi yung end ng 2023. Kaya 7% yung ating ginamit. Next, i-add din natin yung current service cost, 700,000 past service cost 240,000, actuarial losses connected to financial assumptions 900,000, actuarial losses connected to experience adjustments 300,000, and then ililist natin yung paid benefits to retirees amounting 1 million pesos and settled benefits na present value. Take note natin, ang ililist natin kapag defined benefit obligation, settled benefits at present value at hindi yung actual settlement price. And last, ang ililist naman natin yung actuarial gains connected sa demographic assumptions amounting 100,000 pesos. So, we will arrive at 8,431,000 pesos para sa ating defined benefit obligation as of December 31, 2023. Ang second requirement naman natin ay yung plan assets as of December 31, 2023. Again, given yung plan assets natin as of January 1, 2023, amounting to 6,200,000 pesos. And then, i-add natin yung contributions to the plan assets, which is equal to 500,000. And then, yung actual return naman natin ay equals to 750,000 pesos. Then, ilaless naman natin yung settlement price of retirement liability equals to 370,000 pesos. So, tandaan natin na kapag sa defined benefit obligation, ang ililess natin na settlement price is at present value. Kapag naman dito sa plan assets, ang ililess natin na settlement price is yung actual price na ating isa-settle. And then, lastly, ang ililess pa natin is yung amount of benefits paid to retirees amounting to 1 million pesos. With that, mag-arrive naman tayo sa plan assets as of December 31, 2023 amounting to 6,080,000 pesos. Next, amount to be presented in balance sheet as of December 31, 2023. So, ang gagawin lang natin is kukunin natin yung difference between defined benefit obligation and plan assets. So, yung defined benefit obligation natin is equals to 8,431,000 pesos. And then, ilaless natin yung plan assets equals to 6,080,000 pesos. Ang difference nila is 2,351,000 pesos. So, dahil nga si defined benefit obligation is greater than the plan assets, kaya yung difference nila is i-report natin as net retirement liability, which is included nga sa non-current liability section sa ating balance sheet. Ang fourth requirement naman natin ay yung net retirement expense in profit or loss for 2023. So, first, kunin muna natin yung current and past service cost. So, pinag-combine na natin siya. Kaya, it is equal to 940,000 pesos. And then, i-add mo doon yung interest expense on defined benefit obligation. Yun nga, yung na-complete na natin kanina. Ita-times lang natin yung beginning ng defined benefit obligation sa 7%, kaya nag-arrive tayo sa 511,000 pesos. And then, ilaless natin yung gain on settlement. Yung gain on settlement, kukunin lang natin yung difference between settled benefits and settlement price. Yung settled benefits na at present value and then yung actual settlement price. Kaya, yung gain on settlement natin is 420,000 minus 370,000 is equal to 50,000 pesos. And last naman nating ilaless is yung interest income on plan assets. So, to compute, yung plan assets natin as of the beginning of 2023, which is equal to 6,200,000 pesos, ito times din natin sa 7% na discount rate. Same concept sa defined benefit obligation kung bakit sa 7% siya itinimes. And makukuha natin yung equal nila to 434,000 pesos. So, makukuha natin na net retirement expense recognized in profit or loss is 967,000 pesos. Ang last requirement naman natin regarding accounting for total retirement cost ay yung net retirement cost to be reported in under comprehensive income for 2023. So, meron tayong actuarial losses on financial assumptions equal to 900,000 pesos, and then actuarial losses on experience adjustments equals to 300,000 pesos, and then ilalas natin yung actuarial gains on demographic assumptions which is equal to 100,000 pesos. And lastly, ilalas din natin yung remeasurement gain on planned assets. So, nagkaroon nga tayo ng remeasurement gain on planned assets dahil si actual return is mas mataas sa ating interest income of planned assets. Kung kaya, pinag-minus natin yung actual return na 750,000 pesos and then yung interest income of planned assets which is equal to 434,000 pesos and then nag-arrive na tayo sa 316,000 pesos. And then, ang magiging equal niya is 784,000 pesos for the net retirement cost recognized in OCI or other comprehensive income. Ang last topic naman natin sa chapter na to is about accounting for asset ceiling. So, asset ceiling refers to the present value of any economic benefits available in the form of refunds from the plan or reduction in future contributions to the plan. So, ang concept lang nito is yung asset ceiling is applicable lang kapag si plan assets is greater than our defined contribution obligation na magre-resulta nga sa surplus. Kasi kapag si defined contribution obligation is greater than the planned assets, wala tayo ma-occur na surplus and with that, itong asset ceiling is hindi siya magiging applicable. So sabi nga din dito na yung asset ceiling nga daw is available in the form of refunds from the plan or reductions in future contributions to the plan. So dahil nga yung plan assets natin is hawak naman siya ng third party and then nagsiset nga sila ng asset ceiling. So kapag halimbawa is meron nga tayong surplus pero yung sinet naman na asset ceiling ni third party is greater than our surplus, hindi pa rin ma-applicable itong accounting na to. Dahil magte-take effect lang to kapag si surplus nga natin is greater than our asset ceiling and with that, magkakaroon nga tayo ng refunds. Ito naman yung mga condition na dapat din nating tandaan. So sabi, the net retirement asset that should be reported is lower of the following. Tandaan natin yung word na lower. So, mas mababa between letter A, yung excess of plan assets over defined benefit obligation. Ito na nga yung sinasabi ko kanina, yung surplus. And then letter B, yung amount of asset ceiling. So, lower ng dalawang yan. And i-take note lang din natin na yung asset ceiling nga daw is hindi siya nakaka-apekto sa separate balances ng plan assets and defined benefit obligation and instead ang nakaka-apektohan lang ay yung kanilang net amount. Ito naman yung accounting procedure na kailangan din nating tandaan. So, when the surplus of plan assets is less than asset ceiling, wala nga siyang consequences kasi nga, as I have said kanina, na kapag si surplus is less than the asset ceiling, wala tayong makiklaim na refund. While kapag si surplus of plan assets is greater than the asset ceiling, ang effect naman nito ay accounting for effect of asset ceiling. And kapag si surplus is mas mataas sa asset ceiling, meron tayong makiklaim na refund. So the effect of asset ceiling is the amount of excess of surplus of plan assets over the amount of asset ceiling. So i-differentiate nga muna natin kung ano ba yung asset ceiling kaysa dun sa effect of asset ceiling. So si asset ceiling, ito yung sinet na ceiling ni third party. Kumbaga, ito yung amount na restricted na hindi nga natin siya pwedeng maklaim as a refund. While ito namang effect of asset ceiling, nagre-refer naman siya dun sa amount between the excess of surplus of plan assets over the amount of asset ceiling. So basically, siya lang yung difference ni surplus at ni plan assets. So now, paano naman ina-account si effect of asset ceiling? So letter A, yung changes nga daw sa amount na yon is i-recognize mo siya in OCI as remeasurement gain or loss. Letter B, the amount to be recognized in other comprehensive income is reduced by the amount of interest, and this interest is reported in profit or loss. Letter C, the interest is computed as discount rate applied to beginning amount of effect of asset ceiling. This discount rate is the same as the one used in computing the amount of net interest expense or income and defined benefit, obligation, and plan assets. So basically, same concept lang sila na kung saan yung discount rate, itatimes mo lagi siya dun sa beginning amount of effect of asset ceiling. So ito yung table na to, siya lang yung summary nung nabanggit natin kanina. So sa unang scenario, if meron tayong increase in effect of asset ceiling, magkakaroon tayo ng remeasurement loss and interest expense. While kapag naman may decrease in effect of asset ceiling, magkakaroon naman tayo ng remeasurement gain and interest income. So parang kapag pataas si asset ceiling, may loss. Kapag naman pababa si asset ceiling, may gain. So, yun lang yung concept niya. And then, take note na yung amount of interest income or expense ay included nga sa computation of net interest expense or income on net retirement liability or asset. Now, ito naman yung ating pro forma in terms of accounting for asset ceiling. Actually, almost the same lang siya dun sa kanina, pero meron nga tayo ditong mga nadagdag. So, ito yung pro forma in getting net retirement cost recognized in profit or loss. So, current and past service cost, i-add natin yung interest expense on defined benefit obligation, and then interest expense on asset ceiling, if any, and then loss on settlement if may loss. And then ilalas naman natin yung gain on settlement if may gain, interest income on plan assets, and then yung interest income on asset ceiling if any, and then mag-a-arrive nga tayo dun sa net retirement cost recognized in profit or loss. Ito naman yung pro forma natin in getting net retirement cost recognized in OCI or other comprehensive income. So, actuarial losses on defined benefit obligation, i-add natin yung remeasurement loss on plan assets if loss, and then remeasurement loss on asset ceiling if any, and then ilalas naman natin yung actuarial gains on defined benefit obligation, remeasurement gains on plan assets if gain, and then remeasurement gains on asset ceiling if any. And with that, mag-a-arrive naman tayo sa net retirement cost recognized in OCI or other comprehensive income. Meron naman po tayo ngayong sample illustration. So, hindi ko na po siya papasahin dahil nasa book din naman siya sa page 428, illustration 10 dahil medyo mahaba siya. So, tingnan nyo na lang po and then i-explain ko na lang yung computation natin. So, ang requirement natin is to determine the amounts to be recognized as interest and remeasurement gains or losses for each year using only the concepts on the effect of asset ceiling. So, ang step 1 natin is to compute for the amount of surplus of the plan assets over the defined obligation for each year. For the year 2022, meron tayong plan assets na 8 million pesos and meron tayong defined benefit obligation na 7,500,000 pesos. Kukunin lang natin yung difference nila and mag-arrive tayo sa surplus amounting to 500,000 pesos. For the year 2023 naman, may plan assets tayo na 9,200,000 pesos and defined benefit obligation of 8,200,000 pesos for a difference of 1 million pesos. And for the year 2024, plan assets amounting to 11 million, defined benefit obligation of 9,700,000 pesos, and ang equal surplus natin is 1,300,000 pesos. Ang step 2 naman natin is to compare the surplus amounts to the asset ceiling of 600,000 pesos. So, yung asset ceiling, given siya at kung kaya consistent siya for the following years. So, for the year 2022, meron na tayong surplus na 500,000 pesos. And then, ang asset ceiling natin is 600,000 pesos. So, kung mapapansin nyo, mas mababa si surplus. And ang sabi nga, ang accounting procedure natin dyan, if si surplus is less than asset ceiling, wala tayong accounting consequences. Kung kaya, ang effect of asset ceiling natin is none. For the year 2023, meron tayong surplus na 1 million pesos and asset ceiling na 600,000 pesos. So, si asset ceiling is lower compared to our surplus, kung kaya yung difference nila is equal to 400,000, yun yung ating effect of asset ceiling. And for the year 2024 naman, may surplus tayo na 1,300,000 pesos. Again, asset ceiling of 600,000 pesos. And obvious naman, ang mas mababa ulit ay yung asset ceiling. Kaya ang effect of asset ceiling natin is equals to 700,000 pesos. Ang step 3 naman natin is to compute for the change in the effect of asset ceiling by comparing the previous year's amount with the current year's amount. So, kung mapapansin nyo, yung 2022 natin, blanco siya dahil nga si surplus natin is less than the asset ceiling, kaya wala siyang consequences. So, with that, ang pagkakomputan lang natin is within the year 2023 to 2024. So, for the year 2023, meron tayong effect of asset ceiling and na 400,000 pesos. Less effect of asset ceiling beginning, so wala siya kasi nga wala tayo from the year 2022. So, equals to increase in the effect of asset ceiling of 400,000 pesos. And then, ililess natin yung interest expense on asset ceiling, which is wala din dahil nga wala tayong effect of asset ceiling beginning during the year 2023. So, with that, ang remeasurement loss in OCI natin is equal to 400,000 pesos. For the year 2024 naman, meron tayong effect of asset ceiling and of 700,000 pesos. Ilaless natin yung effect of asset ceiling beginning of 400,000 pesos. So, si 400,000 pesos, siya naman yung effect of asset ceiling end ni 2023. So, di ba, i-rule naman na kung ano yung end from the previous year, siya yung magiging beginning ng current year. So, ang increase in the effect of asset ceiling natin is 300,000 pesos, which is difference lang ng 700,000 pesos and no 400,000 pesos. And then, ilaless din natin yung interest expense on asset ceiling, which is 40,000 pesos. So, saan ba nanggaling si 40,000 pesos? So, si 40,000 pesos, nanggaling siya dun sa 400,000 pesos natin na effect of asset ceiling beginning, and then ito times lang natin siya sa 10% na discount rate. And with that, ang makukuha nating remeasurement loss in OCI during the year 2023 is 260,000 pesos. To continue, i-compute naman natin yung amounts to be reported in profit or loss and in OCI. Ito ay for the year 2022, 2023, and 2024. For the year 2022, meron tayong incur na service cost na 700,000 pesos, and then ilaless lang natin yung net interest income before asset ceiling amounting to 50,000 pesos. And then, in case nga na meron tayong interest expense on asset ceiling, i-add lang din natin siya. Pero in this case, sa 2022, wala tayong na-incur na interest expense. Kaya ang total retirement cost recognized in profit or loss during the year 2022 is equal to 650,000 pesos. For the year 2023 naman, may service cost tayo na 400,000 pesos, less net interest income, 100,000 pesos for a total of 300,000 pesos. And for the year 2024, may service cost naman tayo na 500,000 pesos. Ilalas naman natin ulit yung net interest income before asset ceiling amounting 130,000 pesos. And then, i-add natin yung interest expense on asset ceiling amounting to 40,000 pesos. So, in this case, meron tayong interest expense on asset ceiling dahil nga itong 40,000 is nanggaling siya doon sa 2023 asset ceiling ending. Yun yung ita-times natin sa discount rate na 10%. So, for a total of 410,000 pesos. Ang last naman natin gagawin is to compute for the net retirement cost recognized in OCI. So, for the year 2022, nagkaroon tayo ng net actuarial losses amounting to 350,000 pesos. And then, i-add lang natin yung remeasurement losses on planned assets and remeasurement losses on asset ceiling. So, i-take note lang natin na yung remeasurement losses on asset ceiling is nanggaling siya dun sa remeasurement loss in OCI na kinumpit nga natin sa step 3. And then, ilalas naman natin yung remeasurement gain on planned assets amounting to 120,000 pesos. So, for the year 2022, meron tayong net retirement cost recognized in OCI amounting to 230,000 pesos. For the year 2023 naman, meron tayong net actuarial losses na 250,000 pesos, and then i-add lang natin yung remeasurement losses on asset ceiling amounting to 400,000, and then ilaless naman natin yung remeasurement gain on planned assets amounting to 150,000 pesos for a total of 500,000 pesos. And for the year 2024 naman, nagkaroon tayo ng net actuarial losses amounting to 420,000, and then i-add lang natin yung measurement losses on planned assets amounting to 180,000 and yung remeasurement losses on asset ceiling amounting to 260,000 pesos for a total of 860,000 pesos. Again, ang tatandaan lang natin na yung asset ceiling ay hindi siya nakakaapekto sa computation ng individual ending balances ng ating defined benefit obligation and plan assets. So, ayun lang for my part in our report regarding post-employment benefits. Thank you, and I hope na meron kayong natutunan sa report namin.